Think you're eating healthy? Some of the most diet-friendly foods could be the very reason your glucose levels are still out of control. In this video, you'll discover 5 everyday foods that may be silently sabotaging your blood sugar and what to eat instead. Let's start with one snack most people think is safe. Dried fruit is one of those foods that seems like a smart, healthy choice, packed with nutrients, fiber, and antioxidants. Many people reach for raisins, dried apricots, or mango slices as a way to satisfy a sweet craving without turning to candy. However, the reality is that dried fruit can be a hidden source of concentrated sugar, leading to unexpected blood sugar spikes. The process of drying fruit removes most of the water, which shrinks the fruit and concentrates its natural sugars. This means that what looks like a small serving can contain a much higher sugar load than fresh fruit. For example, a cup of fresh grapes has about 16 grams of carbohydrates, but a cup of raisins contains a staggering 130 grams of carbs. This huge difference can catch you off guard, especially if you're simply swapping one for the other without paying attention to portion size. Dried fruit also tends to have a medium glycemic index, averaging around 60, which means it can raise blood sugar at a moderate rate. More importantly, the glycemic load, a measure of how much a typical serving will impact your blood sugar, can exceed 49 per 100 grams for many dried fruits. That's a significant impact, especially for people who need to keep their blood sugar steady. Some dried fruits, like dried apricots, have a GI around 55, while others, such as prunes, are lower, with a GI closer to 29 to 30. Choosing lower GI options like prunes can help minimize spikes, but even then, portion control is key. It's easy to overlook how much sugar is in a small handful of dried fruit, especially when labels use terms like unsweetened or natural. Even without added sugars, the natural sugars are highly concentrated, and many varieties like dried cherries or cranberries often have extra sugar added during processing, making their impact even greater. If you want to keep dried fruit in your diet, try measuring out just 1 to 2 tablespoons at a time. Pairing dried fruit with a source of healthy fat or protein, like a few almonds or walnuts, can also help slow down sugar absorption and keep your blood sugar more stable. While dried fruit is a common snack that can lead to blood sugar surprises, it's not the only convenience food to watch out for. Some options that seem designed for health can have an even bigger impact on your blood sugar than you might expect. Protein bars have become a staple for many people looking for a quick snack or a convenient meal replacement. They're marketed as an easy way to get more protein, support muscle recovery, or simply tide you over between meals. But while these bars promise health benefits, it's important to look beyond the packaging and check what's actually inside. A closer look at the nutrition label often reveals that some popular bars contain up to 20 grams of added sugar, nearly an entire day's recommended limit for women, and most of what men should consume in a day. These sugars may come from syrups, honey, or other sweeteners that not only increase the calorie count, but also raise the glycemic load, leading to sharp blood sugar spikes. For people managing diabetes or prediabetes, this can make it much harder to keep blood sugar stable. High glycemic, sugar-heavy snacks can overwhelm your insulin response and may cause rapid drops in energy once the initial spike wears off. It's not just the sugar content that's concerning. Many bars contain refined carbohydrates, ingredients like brown rice syrup or cane juice, which convert quickly to glucose during digestion. Even bars labeled as low-fat or organic can be misleading, as these terms often distract from the hidden sugars or processed carbs in the ingredient list. And while packed with protein sounds reassuring, some bars focus more on taste and texture than on providing a balanced mix of nutrients. If you want to include protein bars in your diet, look for options with less than 5 grams of sugar and a short list of ingredients you recognize. Higher fiber and healthy fats are also important, as they help slow digestion and keep you feeling full longer. For more control over what you're eating, consider making your own snack bars at home. Pairing unsweetened dried fruit with nuts and seeds, much like a simple trail mix, can offer lasting energy without the sugar surge. Paying close attention to labels and ingredient lists can help you avoid common pitfalls with packaged snacks. However, it's not just sweet bars that can be problematic. Even foods marketed for their fiber and whole grain content can have unintended effects on blood sugar. Whole grain crackers often show up as a go-to snack for those trying to manage blood sugar. They're marketed as high in fiber, made from whole grains, and usually labeled as low-fat, which gives them a reputation for being a healthier choice. Many people reach for them as a lighter alternative to chips or white bread. However, their packaging doesn't always match what's inside when it comes to how they affect blood sugar. The main concern with many whole grain crackers is how they're processed. While the term whole grain suggests a product full of natural fiber and nutrients, most crackers are made from grains that have been finely ground or processed. This processing can raise the glycemic index, GI, of the crackers, meaning they can cause blood sugar to rise more quickly than you might expect. For example, saltine-type whole wheat crackers often have a GI around 72, which is very close to the GI of white bread, typically around 75. This means that despite the whole grain label, many of these snacks act a lot like refined carbs once they're in your system. In contrast, intact whole grains like quinoa or barley have much lower GI values and cause a slower rise in blood sugar. Marketing can add to the confusion. Phrases like "made with whole grains" or "multigrain" are common, but they don't guarantee that most of the product is actually whole grain. In many cases, just a small amount of whole grain flour is mixed with refined flours and starches. Research from 2021 comparing processed grain-based snacks to unprocessed whole grains found that the processed snacks led to significantly higher blood sugar spikes after eating. This highlights how the form of the grain, whether it's intact or processed, makes a real difference. If you're looking for a snack with a satisfying crunch, read the ingredient list carefully. Choose crackers where whole grains or seeds are listed first, and look for varieties with added seeds like flax, chia, or pumpkin to boost fiber and healthy fats. Pairing crackers with a protein-rich topping, such as hummus, cottage cheese, or avocado, can also help slow digestion and keep blood sugar more stable. Next, let's take a closer look at a popular comfort food that's often praised for its health benefits, but where the way you prepare it can make all the difference. Sweet potatoes are widely recognized as a nutritious choice for people managing blood sugar. They offer vitamins A and C, provide fiber, and, in their unprocessed state, have a low glycemic index. This reputation makes them a popular way to add a comforting starch to meals without the worry of sharp glucose spikes. However, the way you prepare sweet potatoes can make a dramatic difference in how they affect your blood sugar. The glycemic index, GI, of sweet potatoes shifts significantly depending on the cooking method. Boiled sweet potatoes have a GI of just 46, which means they cause a slow, steady rise in blood sugar. In contrast, baked sweet potatoes have a GI of 94, a value close to pure glucose. This is because boiling preserves resistant starch, keeping GI low, while baking breaks down those starches to simple sugars, pushing GI near 94. The body absorbs these simple sugars much more quickly, leading to rapid blood sugar spikes. Research confirms that cooking methods change the digestibility of starches in root vegetables like sweet potatoes. Boiling or steaming helps retain more resistant starch, which is digested slowly and helps prevent sudden jumps in blood sugar. On the other hand, baking or mashing increases the amount of rapidly digestible starch, making blood sugar control more challenging. Even serving size matters. A large portion of mashed or baked sweet potato can easily provide more carbohydrates than intended, especially when paired with sweet toppings or added cream. Another factor to consider is what you eat with your sweet potato. Eating it alone, especially when baked, can amplify its impact on blood sugar. Toppings like marshmallows or cinnamon sugar only add to the glycemic load. Instead, try half a cup of boiled or steamed sweet potato topped with olive oil and a source of protein, such as grilled chicken or beans. This combination helps slow down sugar absorption and keeps your meal balanced. Of course, even foods that appear healthy at first glance can have unexpected effects, especially when they're processed into convenient snack forms. Veggie chips present themselves as a convenient, crunchy snack made from real vegetables, often marketed with phrases like low-fat or organic. The packaging usually displays vibrant images of carrots, beets, or spinach, which can make these snacks seem like a wholesome alternative to traditional potato chips. For people aiming to manage blood sugar, veggie chips might appear to be a smart swap. However, the reality behind these snacks is more complicated than the marketing suggests. The main concern with veggie chips is how they're processed and what actually goes into them. To achieve their crispy texture, manufacturers usually fry or bake the chips at high temperatures. This process can reduce the nutritional value of the original vegetables and concentrate their starches, making the resulting snack much different from eating raw or lightly cooked vegetables. In addition, many veggie chips list potato starch or potato flour as a primary ingredient rather than whole vegetables. This means the snack may have more in common with regular chips than you might expect. Checking the nutrition panel is essential. Look for products where vegetables, not starches or flours, are at the top of the ingredient list. Nutrition labels often reveal that a single serving of veggie chips contains calories and carbohydrate levels similar to those of standard potato chips. For example, one widely available brand of mixed veggie chips has 140 calories per ounce, with 15 grams of carbohydrates and 6 grams of fat. While these numbers may not seem alarming at first glance, the combination of concentrated starches and added oils can contribute to quick blood sugar rises, especially for those who need to be mindful of carbohydrate intake. Another issue is that the vegetable content in many chips is often minimal. The colorful specks in the chips may come from powdered vegetables or even food coloring, rather than from substantial amounts of real whole vegetables. Added salt, refined oils, and sometimes even sugar can further reduce the health value of these snacks. This makes it important to read the ingredient list closely and not rely on front-of-package claims. If you're looking for a healthier, crunchy snack, try roasted chickpeas, which have a low glycemic index of around 28, or make your own kale chips at home using fresh kale, olive oil, and a sprinkle of salt. Raw vegetable sticks, such as cucumber, bell pepper, or radish, paired with a protein-rich dip like hummus, are also excellent choices that offer fiber and nutrients without the hidden risks. You might think bread is off limits, but what if I told you some types can actually help lower your blood sugar? In fact, the right bread might be one of the best tools for more stable glucose. Tap the next video to discover the 5 best breads diabetics can safely enjoy without the spikes.